It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning and welcome to City Beat. My name is Stuart Walter and I'm joined this morning by Thompson Deputy Mayor Kathy Valentino. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Last week we covered a few topics debated at last week's City Council meeting. The health project decisions made by the provincial government, the resolution to approve the Grant and Loop Negotiation Committee, and the Municipal Bylaw Enforcement Act enabling bylaw. Will always be a mouthful no matter how many times I say it. One thing we didn't get to talk about was the letter that the city received from Assistant Deputy Minister Jean Cox. What was the original letter that was sent to Minister Gertson?
So it wasn't just an original letter that was sent to Minister Gertson, who's the Minister of Health. We have been communicating with that Minister Gertson's office to set up a meeting and have discussions with him, as we always have lobbying efforts with all the ministers. So it wasn't just a letter, it's been letters and calls with the previous government also about these outstanding ambulance bills that we have.
Now, could you explain the official term outstanding ambulance receivables, if some people might not understand exactly what that means, as it's not necessarily a common term?
Right, that's true. So this has been an ongoing issue with the province, and it has been not just this government or this council. There's some years in the past of ambulance receivables that are outstanding, and it goes partly to the third-party payments and how the payments are structured that we get our funding back. So there's an outstanding amount on our books that we're wanting to sit with the province to discuss and come to an agreement on about who's going to cover this outstanding amount.
Now, you reacted in council, and what was your reaction to the letter?
Well, I wasn't happy that the letter came from his assistant, because we have been trying to actively speak with him, whether it be on a conference call or when we are in Winnipeg or when Mayor Fensky is in Winnipeg. We continually try to have lobbying efforts with any of the ministers. So we've tried actively to meet with him, and we haven't, and we've never heard back directly from him. So when we just got a letter back from the assistant, I was discouraged. I thought, jeepers, we've been really trying to meet with him, and we were hoping to hear from him direct.
In the letter, it says that to get in contact with the health region if you want to discuss this any further. Do you think that's the province's way of saying that it's out of their hands, they're not going to do anything about it?
I don't know. I don't know what their direction is on the province's end, but I know from our end, we don't just try to deal with the province. We actively meet with our health region, and Mayor Fensky and our council, we meet with our Northern Regional Health Board, and there's generally always contact with Helga, who's the CEO here.
Moving on, Premier Pallister and Growth, Enterprise and Trade Minister Cliff Cullen announced Tuesday the next phase of the province's Look North strategy. There's also a launch here with Thompson MLA Kelly Bindle, amongst other people, and that included the launch of the looknorthmb.ca website. Now, why is the Look North strategy important for Thompson and all the rest of northern Manitoba?
Well, the Look North strategy, to kind of sum it up if people aren't aware of it, it was launched Tuesday. I'm getting my days mixed up here because it's a long weekend. On Tuesday at the Forks, with the Premier announcing the Look North strategy from the province. They have this Look North website that we encourage everybody to go to. It's a great initiative from the province, and it's great to see that there's general interest in promoting the economic development and what the North has to offer. So a good way for people to understand it is to go to the website, and it's broken down into different categories. They're looking for input. They're looking for people to put in their stories or their success stories of businesses or tourism or all the different categories that are taking place in the North. And then they'll follow up with a Look North summit that they're going to do throughout our region. It's not just an initiative that is just going to take place and go away. It is going to be a long process to get an economic strategy in place for all of the North. So it's a really great thing.
And recently, Oswald Saw, now, when he presented this, he was the president. Now he's a past president of the Thompson Chamber of Commerce, presented City Council with the Thompson Chamber of Commerce Thompson Tourism Strategy. I believe that was on the January 30th meeting of Council. Now, are these two totally separate things, or can they be worked in conjunction together here in Thompson?
They are two totally different things. The Thompson Chamber of Commerce did that out of their strategic planning that they've come up with that part of a tourism strategy. The Look North strategy is separate. It's from the province, and it's province initiative. And the two co-chairs of the Look North strategy is Chuck Davidson, who's the president of the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce, and Chief Christian Sinclair, who's the chief of OCN. So those are the two co-chairs of the Look North strategy from the province. The Thompson Chamber of Commerce has their own initiative that they've done some strategic planning about tourism just for the north. So they are two different things. And just a quick thing there about Ozzy, thanks to him for being the president for the last year. And at their swearing-in ceremony on Tuesday, the new president of this year's Thompson Chamber of Commerce is Raj Tethi. So, which is great for him to step up and take a part of that.
And finally, on this topic, there's going to be a community roundtable scheduled here in Thompson on April 4th and 5th. Do you expect anything to come out of that would be beneficial for the city?
Oh, absolutely. The summit, from how I understand it, is going to be by invite only, and these summits will take place around the region. So all the information they get from each summit will then go back to these co-chairs, and they will create a strategy out of it for all of the north. So definitely we'll be at the table, and we will bring our input and some hard facts at that time of what we see would be a benefit to the city.
Moving on to another topic, last weekend was the Mun Cup, one of the biggest weekends in the winter. How much of the tournament were you able to watch?
Well, I was there for the opening ceremonies. I brought greetings, and then I watched the Adam AA game after that. I watched the Adam A game after that. And then on Sunday, I saw the end of the Adam A game, a bit of the Thompson Adam AA game, and I watched the end of the third period of the final game.
What moments would you say stood out for you from that weekend?
I honestly love, my favorite moment is just the kids running around the arena. And so we had given tickets for all of them at the North Star game. I don't know if you guys were there, but it was busy down there. It was great. I just love those kids just running around steady, and like, they're everywhere. I love it. That's my favorite part of that weekend.
Well, it's something my wife and I had to deal with, is I'm running right in front of our seats and having to constantly move our legs back and forth.
Absolutely.
It's just part of the experience.
Absolutely. It's a great thing.
Would you say the weekend was a success?
I think it was a great success. Kudos to the Mun Cup committee. They did another great weekend. They had the 19 teams. I think they only ended up having 18 because I think unfortunately Arviat couldn't get in because of the weather. So, yeah, no, I think it was a very successful weekend.
Last weekend was Mun Cup. This weekend is Winterfest. It starts tomorrow. We'll have Councillor Foley to talk more about that on Thompson Today later on at 12:40. What are you looking forward to the most about the weekend?
Well, kudos to Councillor Foley, and he is the guru of this Winterfest, so I'm glad you're talking to him today because he knows times and dates and places of everything. So what I'm looking forward to the most, well, one thing just to tell you about when I grew up with Winter Carnival was the whole Rudy the Raven. So kudos to the Kinet Club that they've brought that back. That's a big part of when I grew up what the Winter Carnival was. So I love seeing that part of it brought back. And I love the fireworks, and I love the bonfire. I don't know if that's because from when I was a kid, but those are my two things I like the most. On a personal note, I guess.
So you also had some other events that you wanted to highlight from the Winterfest schedule.
Absolutely. The one thing that's very important is what time this all starts. And it's at 6 o'clock down outside in the VRCC in the big parking lot there. That's when they'll do the bonfire and the maze and the hot chocolate. So everything kicks off at 6 o'clock on Friday. The other thing that sometimes we think that it's just down at the VRCC, but there's some really important events happening not just down there. And one of them is at the Norplex pool. We will be having free swim. And you can check all this information out on the Thompson Facebook page and Winterfest Facebook page. Is that correct? City of Thompson Facebook page. Thanks for their nodding at me. And that's at the Norplex pool. It's going to be free public swim this weekend. And the Feast of Nations put on by Multicultural Center is happening at the Army and Navy. So those are a couple of things that take place not just down there. So don't think that we aren't including all of the facilities. And there's two big fundraiser games, or I guess entertainment games, that are starting to cause a lot of Facebook I don't know, betting, I guess, maybe going on. And one of them is there's a Northman North Stars alumni game on Saturday night. So if any of you are alumni and you want to play or be a part, you can get a hold of Mike Ross. And the other one, which is starting to get a hot and heavy competition, is, I love how they call this, the Guns and Hoses hockey game. And that's between our fire department and the RCMP. And that's on Sunday afternoon at 4. Really encourage people to come out. It's great to have this kind of entertainment and a really good community feeling involved. So it's good.
So what's your personal favorite event then, if you had to choose one?
Out of those 2 hockey games?
Or out of anything throughout Winterfest?
I'm sorry, but I am a North Star person through and through. I'm going North Star alumni game.
And then what would be your favorite memory of all the Winterfests you've been to?
Almost finding Rudy the Raven, because they used to hunt him, like they used to hide him, and then we had to go and hunt for him. And he was wrapped in a black garbage bag, and I almost found him, but somebody else got to the black garbage bag before me. It's probably Harold Smith. He probably found it before I did.
So I believe you have some other things you wanted to bring up here before we wrap things up.
Absolutely. We always have lots going on. Really big, exciting announcement, official announcement, is going to be on this Tuesday, February 28th at Deerwood School, and you're going to hear a little bit more about it, but at 10:45. Not sure if it's confirmed, but I believe one of the ministers for sport is coming up to give our official announcement that we will be hosting the Manitoba Games in 2018. So that's going to be our city and our community kickoff for that will be on the 28th. I'm sure the press release and information will be coming out shortly. Other thing I want to mention is City of Thompson, keep your eyes open. We're starting to prepare for our Volunteer of the Year Award, which usually takes place in the spring towards late April. And the YWCA is right now having their nominations out there for their Women of Distinction Award, and you can go to the YWCA website for that. Another big thing this weekend, not just Winterfest, but the Burntwood Curling Club is having the Women's Bonspiel, which is always a big fun event. So that's going on down there. And I believe that the AA Thompson King Miners have playoffs here this weekend hosting Cranberry Portage. So lots going on this weekend in the city. It's a great thing. So there's lots to do. So people should be out and about because we have a busy weekend. The other thing I want to mention is it was cold this morning. It was melting 2 days ago. Be cautious of the ice. We hear some of the waterways on the way to Paint Lake had a little bit of yellow ice on them. So please, 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 this is an odd year for ice. We're seeing it down south. There was a truck through at Lockport, I think, already. So let's be very cautious of that, please, you guys, this weekend.
All right, well, that about does it here for this edition of City Beat. Thanks again to my guest, Deputy Mayor Kathy Valentino, for joining me.
Thanks, you guys. Have a good weekend.
For 102.9 CHTM, I'm Stuart Walter.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning.